Hey, beautiful people. It's your girl, Sheree Robin, Simon & Schuster bestselling author, editor, publisher, literary coach, ghostwriter, all-around word nerd. And we're kicking off this conversation, kind of continuing on some stuff that we've been talking about recently when it comes to publishing and building your credibility and writing badass books that change lives, right? So one of the things that I think is important to highlight is, right, and this is so funny to me because I've published hundreds of books. But this part of the publishing process is probably the most hysterical part of the process. And here's what happens, right? Here is the reality of what takes place. We work together for 3 to 6 months, depending on your project. It could be 12 months, whatever, however long a period of time to get your book to the finish line. But we're in the trenches, right? Me and you, we working to get this book done. The book is done. You have finished everything that you need to finish. It goes and gets an edit, right? It's beautiful, right? It's ready to go. Then all of a sudden, here's what happens. You run for the hills, right? All of a sudden, the author, the person who just put all of this time and energy into getting the book done, tails it out of here, right? There is, I would say at least 4 out of every 5 times that we go through the publishing process, the writer runs. And it is a real thing, right? It's a real reality that needs to be discussed and be made present, because what happens is fear, right? Fear jumps up on your back. Even though you've done all of this work to get the book out and finish, it can be completely done. But all of a sudden, here comes that creepy little think fear in the back of your head going, is anybody really going to read this? You put your energy, you put your money on here, but you don't have to put it out there. Nobody's going to buy it. Nobody's going to care. No one's going to be interested. Or it's like, oh, everybody's going to see me, right? I have to be transparent. Everyone's going to know that I wrote a book. Am I ready for that? Am I open enough for that, for people to dive into everything that I've shared in this book? And that fear, those levels of fear are crippling, baby. I've had writers run for a year, almost 12 months. I'm like, ma'am, your book is done. Book is done. Book is finished, finalized, complete. It's done. Everything is done. Where are you? You done bought a house, moved across the country, had a baby, had a husband. Like, all these other things have happened outside of you sitting tight, locking in, and just taking the necessary steps to finish the publishing process. And it's something that it's a real thing, right? It is a real psychological thing that almost chops your legs out from underneath of you before you even get a chance to celebrate the success of it, right? Before you even get to show the world just how brilliant and how much of a badass you really are. So I want to challenge you early on to prepare yourself for that, right? So many people want to publish a book and they jump into it going, well, how quickly can I get this done? Right. Or I want to publish my book. I want to get it out here. Can I do it in 2 weeks? Can I do it in 3 weeks? And they're thinking about the logistics, right? The editing, the layout, the cover design, those pieces. But what you're often not thinking about is you, right? Are you ready? Are you prepared? Right? Are you emotionally ready to get this, to put this out here and to stand on it, to stand on business about your book, to be able to back up the things that you said in those pages? Are you ready for that? And a lot of people aren't. They run. They run. I had a conversation with another friend who's an editor, another colleague in the industry, and we were cracking up just talking about, like, this is for real. Oh, they ran. They ran. We at that place right about here where the edit is done, and I ain't talked to them about 3 weeks. Yeah, they gone. They done disappeared. And you call them, it's been 2 months. Yes, that is a real thing. So I want you to think about that and prepare yourself mentally for that thing, knowing that it's a process, right? Publishing is a process. So it is one, just like the writing process, just like the editing process. It is one that you're going to have to go through step by step. And it doesn't have to be scary or overwhelming. It is one step at a time. But we can't make those steps if you didn't hit the highway and and you on your way to Arizona somewhere and ain't returning nobody calls. So I want you to lock in with yourself. Really take a moment and think about your preparedness, right? Think about what this looks like. Now that you know this is a real thing, right? That fear is going to come. That fear is going to walk up on you and tap you on your shoulder and be like, yeah, so I know you did this, but what if don't? And if you are not locked in enough, if you are not prayed up enough, if you are not confessing enough, in the right relationships enough, if you are not in the right community spaces with other writers, if you are not working with an editor who keeps you accountable, then you will not have anybody to snatch you up when you try to haul tail up out of here. And that is a detriment to you and the powerful story that you've written and the lives that you can change because of it. So don't freak out. Don't freak out. Don't get overwhelmed. The best advice that I can absolutely give in this space is to take a break, right? Take a moment, but time the moment, right? Give yourself a deadline. If it's overwhelming and you get to this place where your book is done and now you have to start working on cover design and that's scary, give yourself 7 days. I'm going to give myself 7 days to walk away from this, to take a breather, but commit to coming back. Commit to doing the work, to showing back up and finishing this thing. It seems almost asinine, like, of course people will write the book and they'll finish it and they'll publish it. But it doesn't always happen that way. There are people who will just stop, right? Who will freak completely out and just stop. And I don't want that to be you, right? So make sure that you pace yourself, that you give yourself hard and fast deadlines. I'm going to do this last edit. Then I'm going to stop here. I'm going to take a break. I'm going to prepare myself for this. I'm going to go over my marketing plan. I'm going to start looking at my social media content. Again, piece by piece, step by step. If you're looking at this launching a book and getting a book out to the world as this massive, cumbersome undertaking, then it is going to feel overwhelming. And that's going to be one of those things that ignite that flame for you to get booking, right? For you to get running. And that's not what we want. So I want you to take your time and really think about, okay, what are my next steps? Right? I know I have to get to the finish line, right? And also, one of the things that I encourage my writers all the time is to write the vision on a board somewhere, right? This is what I want. These are the outcomes that I want because of this book. So when you start thinking about freaking out, you can see that you remind yourself that this book is purposed to save women who have been in domestically abusive relationships. This book is to save people who keep, paying this debt over debt over debt, and they need to figure out how to get out of poverty, right? This book is specifically for these people. Put that somewhere where you can see it in your eye gates. So when you go to run, there's something right there, boom, reminding you. Okay. So deadlines, those specific reminders, having those things right there in your face, those purpose points right in your face, those reminders of your why somewhere that you can refer back to, right? That is so vitally important to your success. Because, of course, yeah, you finish the book, but if you don't finish the actual process of publishing, then it's almost like you wasted your time and your money. And why would you do that? Like, why would you do that? And so I laugh because it's funny, but at the end of the day, it's sad. When somebody is that terrified or that fear grips them up and they don't have an outlet, right? They don't have somebody to check on them. If you're working with me, that's not an issue because I'm finna call you. What are you doing? Where are you at? What are you doing? Let's stop playing because we gotta get this book out here to the people. I worked hard over this book. This book is getting published. Okay, this book is getting published. But I want you to prepare yourself mentally for that part of the journey. Okay, just know that it's going to come. And if you're aware of it, if the maneuvers and the mechanisms of the enemy, then you're aware of it when it's trying to creep up on you. See it, you see what it is. So you'll know it's fear when it comes up on you. You'll know it's doubt and you'll know it's a lie. And it's a setup and a trap to keep you from getting this thing done, getting it out to the masses and stop you from changing lives. That is the plan, to keep you derailed. Don't fall for that. Okay, set hard and fast deadlines. Make sure that you give yourself a moment to take a break and then get right back to it, right? That accountability is important as well. Having that accountability with an editor or with another community or a writing group, and then putting the purpose of your book on the wall, writing your vision, making it plain so that you can continue to see that and it can pour back into yourself, into your own eye gates. Okay, those are the 3 pieces I want you to take away from this conversation today, and know that there is a real fear that comes along in the publishing process. It's a part of the journey, but it doesn't have to beat you. It doesn't have to trip you up or stall you or stop you. You can whoop it. And so let's whoop it, y'all. All right, let's do it. I hope this message was good for you. Have an incredible day. Keep writing, folks, and I'll see you guys again soon.